introduce the next keynote speaker. Thank you very much. Please appreciate him.
I have done my best to tell them not to call me pastor on this pulpit. We're not in church. I am Mr. At least until they make me chief or governor or senator. I hope you've been empowered yesterday. Yes? We must first thank our keynote speakers for yesterday, for their tremendous gift to the house, and we're very proud of them, and we're very grateful to them. I want to touch on a few things before we start to introduce the keynote speakers. Number one is some of the things that Mr. Paquin said on behalf of Bank of Industry. You know, can anybody tell me, for instance, why you think you need guarantors? Why do you think a bank will institute a system by which you need guarantors? Most of you, when you are getting married, you go and see the family of the groom or the bride, as the case may be, the bride. And when you get there, you carry an army load of guarantors behind you. Am I right? Am I right? Come on, is that not why we do traditional wedding? We're taking guarantors because at the back saying to them that we're going to marry your daughter, but we're going to look after your daughter very well. Come on now. How come the bank can't do that? It's a marriage. It requires confidence from both sides. And if you can't get guarantors, something is wrong with your relationships. And business is relationship. That's number one. Number two, I'll tell you a story. How many of you have read Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Some of you haven't. Can I tell you that's one of the oldest and most powerful books that we have in this last few years, 25 years. It's been a remarkable book. He tells a fascinating story about how he got his first loan. He wanted to buy an apartment. So he goes to this bank, and when he gets there, he puts his application down, and the bank tells him, no, we won't give you the money. So before he walks out of the bank, he tells the bank manager, what did I do wrong? And the bank manager says, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. So he will add what that bank manager told him and go to the next bank. Those ones will say no. He will now ask them, what's wrong? What did I do that is wrong? He will take that information, add it to his presentation until he got to the 9th bank. On the 9th bank, when he presented his document, in 1 hour they approved his loan. 1 hour. Some of us don't understand that when you want to travel out of the country and you go to the embassy, they don't really care what you look like, whether you wear glasses or not. There are preconditions that you must meet for them to give you a visa. It's standardized. Is he this? Does he do this? You know what I mean? You need to mark those points up. And I remember many years ago, there was a young man who wanted to marry a young lady who's in Nigeria. He was in England. And he wanted to apply for a visa for her. So I said to him, pay her school fees. And her school fees was going to be 10,000 pounds. And I wanted to test his love for the girl. And I said, pay your school fees. You won't need to say anything. So he went ahead and paid 10,000 pounds of her school fees. I said, now you go to the embassy, go and get your visa. They gave her a visa in a day because all the conditions were met. I said, now go and get married. And they both moved to England together, and they're together till today. The point I'm trying to make is there are conditions for everything you want. You have to learn to fulfill it. And stop asking the people who put the conditions down to change those conditions because they have a reason why they put the conditions. Understand the business you are in. I believe one of the interesting things about Bank of Industry, which most of us don't know, you don't even need to open an account with them. They are one of the easiest banks to deal with. They use your current bank account to fund your projects. And they single-handedly have funded this project that we can bring to you this morning. So I want us to really appreciate Bank of Industry. And of course, you know I'm doing this so that I can get them to fund it again next year. What do you think? Or the next one, all right? That's being sincere. We have 3 amazing speakers and they've thrown away my profile. So I was using style to wait for the profile to arrive on my iPad, but unfortunately or fortunately for me, the three of them are my friends, so it's quite easy to talk about them without using my notes. The first speaker, she still sent me yesterday's speakers. Okay, the first speaker for today is going to be Mr. Sunday Folayan. He is the founder of Scarnet. How many of you remember that? The first internet company in Ibadan, in the history of this town. One of the remarkable things about Mr. Folayan is this. If you want to see a pioneer and somebody who takes free.ng websites, to some of you, I don't know how many they're going to give to you, but that's what we hope they'll do to you today. So please listen to him, and if he doesn't give you the free gifts, remind me to prod him. All right? I can speak behind his back. He's the lead instructor for African Network Operators Group. They are interested in or committed to internet protocol manpower development. One of the biggest problems we're facing in Nigeria is lack of skills. So they are developing skills for that. He's an instructor for Network Startup Resource Center in Oregon, USA. He's the co-convener of the Nigerian Network Operations Group, an organization formed to advance the development of internet protocol manpower in Nigeria, one of our biggest needs at the moment. That's Mr. Sunday Folayan that just walked in. He's one of the promoters of the Internet Exchange Point, the first exchange point in Nigeria. He sits on the board of Nigerian Internet Exchange. I'm running out of breath leaving the man's CV. So recently, under his direction, they introduced a portal called, HTTP freelance.ng for promoting freelance jobs in Nigeria. He chairs the board of Newman Training and Development Center, which is also a training facility. He's a certified national trainer of JCI University in the US. Among many other things, he's a remarkable man. I've had the privilege of working with him on several occasions, and I'm happy to call him my friend this morning. He's a remarkable man, very difficult to find when you're looking for him. And like I said this morning, we hope that NIRA will make some generous offers to you guys this morning so that you can all switch. I think we've been ashamed of our country for too long. We should be proud to have .ng on our sites. We are not bad people. We are good people. We may have a lot of bad eggs up in our leadership, but we are not bad people. We're not going to allow them to pull us down. All right? The second speaker for today, if I want to confirm the order right, is Mr. Michael Akinwale. Yeah, is that? Am I right? Yeah. Mr. Michael Akinwale of Raleigh Academy. Michael is young, dynamic, incredibly gifted speaker. He specializes in services for online entrepreneurs and investors. He has a level 5 diploma in applied financial trading from the London School of Business and Finance and the London Academy of Trading. He also has a certificate in the comprehensive course of technical analysis and FX wizards. Mr. Akinwale's remarkable experience has taken him all over the country and all over the world, teaching and learning and helping people to do a lot of FX training, FX business. Our hope this morning is that Mr. Akinwale will be able to help many of you make that final move to coming online. And the third speaker today is Mr. Christian Keller. It's a privilege to know Christian. Christian is a German who is now a Nigerian. I'm looking for his... he's a German who is now a Nigerian. And his company's name is African Founders. So yesterday I was making fun of him. I said, African Founders co-founded by a German. He works with Mr. Biodun Makinde, who's been taking you people in remarkable classes since yesterday, who's the co-founder of that organization. As managing director, he established Kamudi, Nigeria, and Ghana as Africa's largest online car marketplace. So you are really privileged today. That was funded by Rocket Internet and MTN and a few other organizations. He set up state-of-the-art sales and marketing and CRM operations and drove rapid expansion in this country. He has worked as a strategy manager at Swisscom, a leading telecom provider in Switzerland. He's the CEO of African Founders. He has co-founded many platforms. Some of them are Dr. Dial, which is one of the most remarkable developments that has happened in the country, where you can actually call a doctor on the phone and get treatment and prescriptions. Not only that, they have another website called helporga.com, which helps you to get people to help you clean or work very easily. They've also founded bosu.com.gh, that's in Ghana, and quickjobs.ng. He combines 10 years of top management consulting, corporate strategy, program management experience with a track record of managing large teams and budget, both in corporate and entrepreneurial high growth environment. So we're very, very privileged this morning to have these three gentlemen with us. Where are our ladies? We'll have a few of them during the afternoon session. Let me say this before we start. We've set up a site, like I told you. I want them to put it up, business.summitexpo.com.ng, something like that. They're going to put it up in a minute. We need all of you to please register there. You say why? Number one, all the materials and PowerPoints are not going to be sent to your mailbox. We're going to allow you to access it online. In addition to that, sorry? You're having problems? Well, thank God that the developer is behind you over there. All right. They should keep trying. All right. They said you should keep trying. Gentlemen, Paige Catton at the back over there is offering 100 free websites to those of you who need to set up websites. So can I encourage you to not to be too angry with them and go and meet them after the program. 100 free websites free of charge. I think 20 or so have been taken up, so you better go there and take up. Tinkling there at the back is registering your business free of charge on business, Google My Business. They have approval from Google to certify your company. So you don't have to go through the long process of letting Google certify it from America, which takes a little bit longer, but they're here. Sheta is here. We're going to have him talk to us in a few seconds somewhere in between. So welcome, Sheta. Thank you for coming. In addition to that, there are many other booths that are offering gifts. There's going to be a raffle draw. So please, I hope you registered. We've asked all the exhibitors to give out gifts to you for coming. And so we're going to do a raffle draw sometime in the middle, and those gifts are going to come to you directly. I hope you win. Maybe I should take part too. And so before we do all this, I'm just giving it a few minutes so that I can allow people to come in and let them be settled. I'm happy to say Mr. Keller, Mr. Akinwale, and our own Mr. Sunday Afolayan is here. So without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Sunday Afolayan to come and start and give his talk. It's okay, you should use this mic. You should use this mic. How are you, sir? Have you gotten your PowerPoints here? No, let him use that mic. They want to change the battery. Then PowerPoint. Yes, you give them. Okay. And then you have 30. And then they're going to sit down for a Q&A afterwards, after the third speaker has finished. That's fine. We've not been able to reach you. And you sent your tough letter to you.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, and I like to do something unconventional to start, and that's to give a vote of thanks on behalf of all of us to Pastor Francis Madojemu for this bold initiative that he has undertaken to do on behalf of all of us. You would forgive me if my talk sounds like a sermon. It is because of my background and my current occupation. The good book says, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. But the truth is that most of us in Nigeria today, it is, here I am, send my brother. And so when you see people like him who devote their energy, their strength, their resources, their time, their youth to do something commendable, I think it is proper that we appreciate them. We are not going to do it that way. That's not the way we will do it. That's your own way. I will introduce the way we will do it. It is called the locomotive applause. So you all rise. You are not going to applaud sitting. Please, let's all rise. And every time I move one hand, you will do a clap. I move another hand, you do another clap. Then you follow my hands to do the clapping. Shall we go? Are you ready? Let's go. Pastor, that is for you. God bless you. God bless you real good. You may be seated. The second thing I would say this morning may sound funny, but what I have found out in this country is if you don't tell people what it is, people will assume what it is. And if people assume what it is, they rub it off. That's just another one. So let me put it on record that I, with some other friends, set up the first internet business in Ibadan, here in the southwest of Nigeria, when I was exactly 28 years old. So if you would say a startup, I qualify to have founded the first startup in Ibadan. A round of applause for me. Let me also put it on record that I registered probably the first domain name in Ibadan, scannet.com, in 1995. Okay, there's so many things Pastor has reeled out. I was wondering, was that me? But the truth is that there is so much to do, quite a lot. And when the issue of traffic, should it go national or local, why must data leave Nigeria, go to Europe, then US, then back to Nigeria? We set up the Ibadan Internet Exchange in 1998, which became what the Nigeria Internet Exchange adopted and used as the foundation. Today, thank you. Today, I still sit on the board of the Nigerian Internet Exchange Point, and the data that is being exchanged there that should have gone international saves not less than 10 billion naira for Nigeria annually. I'd like to also make another confession. When .ng became mainstream, there was a lot of contention about who would manage it, who would host it, and so on. And it was being run by a gentleman called Abraham Gebrehiwot, who works for the Center for Numeric Computing in the International Center for Theoretical Physics in Trieste, Italy. He became pissed off with the politics and handed it over to the founder of the Network Startup Resource Center, Randy Bush. And Randy Bush, to prove a point, called me, and we moved the .ng server from where it was in Italy to my little rack in Ibadan, in Scannet, and it ran there for 2 years without anybody in Nigeria knowing, until one day disaster struck. And what happened? I did not communicate properly. I didn't tell any of the staff that that was the server that hosts .ng. So we got this staff who wanted to install a brilliant application and was looking for a server. and saw a server that nobody has touched for the last 1 year. So she went ahead and formatted it. And .ng went down. And that's the last time it went down. Until the day Randy confessed, you want to move it to Nigeria? It's been running in Nigeria for the last 2 years. I thought it's important that I bring these stories up for one reason. We can transform this nation if we all play correctly in our space. It is not about power. It is not about knowledge. It is not about control. It is service. Service to our nation. Service to humanity. And that's what makes a difference. So if you are thinking of the next great application to do, please don't look for what will give you money. Look for what will serve your community. In the process, you will make a lot of money. You not only will make money, success will chase you. So much so that you'll be told the type of thing Pastor Francis said to me on this podium this morning. Why are you so hard to get? It is not me, sir. It is the demands on my life. I am here this morning because I turned down the chance to train the priests in my diocese today on the use of ICT for effect possible to get all these brilliant and bright faces here again until another year. Let me quickly run through my presentation. I've been given 30 minutes. I think 10 minutes is already gone. But it is not the much of what I say. It is the much of the lives and the hearts I can touch this morning that would make a difference. So please follow my thoughts, follow my words, but let your heart do the assimilation. I will need a tutorial on using this toy. Okay. 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 Yes. All right. Thank you very much. So, I am discussing the impact on global and national e-commerce of .ng domains. And I want to depart from the concept of man and revolutions. Because if you do not have a faint idea of where you are coming from, you will not have an idea of where we are going. And that will make you miss opportunities. An IBM executive once said, it is possible to sell as much as 20 computers worldwide. Did you hear me? An IBM executive once said, it is possible to sell as much as 20 computers worldwide. Today, the average human being carries not less than 4 computers on themselves. Isn't it? By the time you add all the computers in your home, hardly do you have any home with less than 50 computers today. So you see how short-sighted that executive was. So in the 1600s, you had the agricultural revolution. And the agricultural revolution birthed. Man before then to eat would go into the first thing he wants to eat. But with the agricultural revolution, man could plant. He could create a farm filled with just tomato or a farm filled with just melon. And there began the revolution that allowed us feed ourselves. Then the industrial revolution came. The steam engine was invented. Man could play games. And the first game man tried to play was to set up a fire in a church that is supposed to open the door to the altar when the fire is lit. And he gave the impression that when God accepted the sacrifice, the door to the temple will open. It was just steam engine. It was just expansion. And That was the birth of the Industrial Revolution. Then came the medical and scientific revolution, the invention of penicillin, the invention of aspirin, drugs that saved lives, drugs that could be applied. People were dying of plagues. They didn't know what was wrong until people like Marie Curie invented drugs that helped save lives. And then, ladies and gentlemen, computing brought the digital revolution. The computer was invented. The internet came about. And today, we are now talking of the knowledge revolution. It's not enough to have a computer. You must be able to code it. You must be able to mine your big data. You must be able to extrapolate information out of the mass of data that you have. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the foundation for the knowledge revolution. So it's not enough to build hardware today. It's not enough to be able to speak to the machine. You have to be able to deduce accurate information out. And today's knowledge revolution is driven by the internet, a product of the digital and information technology revolutions. Very quickly, let's look at domain counts worldwide. In the world as of today, there are 1.86 billion domains. In Nigeria, we've done very well. We've done 106,000. Odero Izio. Where are my people? Kwenu. Sometimes we make mouth. But when it is time to perform, we don't perform. I will return to this. But I've had a lot of stories about .ng being local, .ng not being reliable, .ng being this, .ng being that. Colo mentality is a serious disease. Please look at me. Am I not handsome? I had a choice this morning whether to put on a suit or ordinary adire, and I went for adire. Let me confess to you, this material costs 1,500 naira. Call it cheap, call it what you like, but I think this is beautiful and this is nice. A lot of us are under mental slavery because we really don't understand the power of what we carry. My intelligence is not in my dressing. My intelligence is in my head, my brain. The way it comes out. Your respect for me derives from how I communicate to you what I say. My looks may be deceptive. But come on, give it to me. Don't I look handsome? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So for those who think .ng is a joke, the joke is on you. You are the one that has very low self-esteem. Get cured this morning. You can look as handsome as I look. Feel confident to speak as I speak. It's in your mind. Nobody can take it away from you. My achievements are my achievements. Last time I checked on Google, there were over 80,000 page counts with my name. So it can't be deleted. It's there. By the time I finish talking today, by the time so many people tweet, blog, talk about what I say, it will increase by another 10,000 or more. All right. So, around 40% of the world population today is that connectivity is no more a challenge as much as it was some 10 years ago. And the number of internet users has gone tenfold, 10 times from what it was in 1999 to what it was in 2013. And of course, another tenfold to what it is in 2018. And you'll see that this growth is phenomenal. Indeed, we reached the first billion of internet users in 2005. the next billion in 2010, and as of 2014, we have reached the 3rd billion of internet users. In terms of registrars, you would see that 40% of domain names registered globally is done by one company, GoDaddy. But I have bad news for you. I have not seen a most racist company like GoDaddy. You do good business with them until they know you are from Nigeria. Then begins your woes and your problems. God help you if your website goes down and you need support. Then you need to prove that you are a human being. You are not a 419. You are not receiving payments by credit card. You are not doing so many things just to get your website working. The truth, ladies and gentlemen, is if you are not making money from your website, you can take any insult. You can take any abuse. But when your website becomes your means of livelihood, be careful so that you will not spend 100 naira where you should spend 1 naira. A word is enough for the wise. We're not doing badly. Indeed, in 2014, the then Minister of Communication, Omobola Johnson, said 52% growth of the internet was recorded in the year 2014. That is remarkable. That is commendable. As at today, NCC says there are 125 million internet users in Nigeria. I doubt that data. The reason why I doubt that data is that it has not been dereferenced using BVN. I carry 4 lines for talking. I carry another 3 lines for data. So I have 7 lines as a human being. So I doubt the fact that Nigeria may have 125 million internet users. But if I would hazard a guess, I would say maybe it is 1/3 of that figure. But when we get the accurate statistics, we will know what exactly it is. I'm in trouble again, no? Is somebody covering it? Ah, okay. Aha. Somebody put a bag there. Can you imagine? Enemy action. All right. Very recently, we estimated that the worth of the internet business around the internet ecosystem in Africa is $1.7 trillion. Hello, somebody. $1.7 trillion. Please don't shake. Because recently, NCC released the fact that Nigerians recharged their GSM phones with about 2.1 trillion naira. Hello, somebody. That's just for recharge. Voice call. What about business to business? What about other things? And this is communication that is ongoing. What about the potentials that has not been realized? And in Nigeria, we do not know the worth of our challenges until it is pointed out. Last week, I attended the business leaders briefing where the Honorable Vice President, Minister of Finance, Minister of Industries, Minister of Petroleum, and Minister of National Planning joined him to brief Nigerian business leaders. And they reeled out very fantastic figures of how Nigeria has improved, and spendings in defense, spendings in trade, spendings in infrastructure development. And I raised one question. Something is missing. There is no spending on education. And that if you continue to have fantastic infrastructure without knowledgeable people who would maintain them, it is recipe for disaster. And I was not surprised, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Gates came to say exactly the same thing I said a week ago. It's on national television. Those who heard me called me to say they heard me say it. I said another thing which Bill Gates didn't say. There's a gridlock in Lagos now. Trailers all over the bridges. Why? Because we cannot evacuate containers by rail from the port to some inland port somewhere in Ogun State where the trailers can then pick it and head north or wherever they want to go. Some of our problems are not rocket science. It just requires political will to solve those problems. So I maintain, ladies and gentlemen, that the worth of e-commerce and internet business in Africa is in excess of $1.7 trillion. Africa does not need to suffer. But today, the worth of Facebook is more than the GDP of the biggest African country or the entire Africa combined together. Why are we that cursed? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to also put on record that 1%, less than 1% of DNS experts and professionals are in Nigeria. We have a critical dearth of manpower. I'm not talking of your IT experts. Please, I am not talking about IT experts. I am talking about professionals. Because there is a difference between experts and professionals, isn't it? Huh? I am talking of professionals, not experts. So, there is a critical dearth that we need to fill. Now, my matrix of thought looks at policy, looks at innovation, looks at entrepreneurship. It also looks at affordability, accessibility, and of course, security. A nation should look at giving rights and services to its people. Ladies and gentlemen, the internet should not be something we pay for. It should be as ubiquitous and affordable as water. It is a necessity to stay alive. Do you know how many people leave Nigeria daily to go to India for medical tourism, when we could have developed UCH, Lagos University Teaching Hospital? Do you know how many Nigerian medical professionals are plying their trade in Saudi Arabia or in the United Kingdom, where they earn good money? And here, we are still under the shackles of religion. We are under the shackles of ethnicity. We are under the shackles of national spread.